So we've now gotten through 5 of the benefits, and now we come on to what is last, but probably the most important and the most significant and the most innovative of the benefits that we are going to give to creators. And that is flexible on-chain licensing. Let's talk about it. So what does it mean? Well, we are developing a model where every asset that is consigned to our protocol can have one or more licenses. It needs at least one. You can't have an asset consigned here with 0 licenses. What's the point of it? Don't put it on the blockchain if you don't intend for anyone to access and use it, right? Each of these licenses defines the rights that will be given to whoever licenses it, which is the licensee. It also talks about how many available units there are and the unit price. So now we are addressing one of the problems I raised earlier, is there's no on-chain licensing for NFTs, etc. It's really each instance, you got to figure out what you want to do and do it every time on every marketplace. Very, very loose and very complex, and just not a nice and efficient system. So with our licensing model, each asset can have one or more licenses, and that'll define, okay, this license allows the licensee to do XYZ. Now, how the heck are we going to communicate that? Well, I'm going to get back to my favorite term, standards-based. There is a standard out there called Creative Commons, which is essentially a public good. They have created licenses for just about every scenario, and they are pretty much the gold standard when it comes to content. So we are going to have the creators use Creative Commons licenses to communicate what one can and cannot do with their intellectual property. But we'll also give them the ability to define their own custom licenses as well. So these points make up the flexible on-chain licensing, but there's a lot more to it. Let's deep dive into it now. So going back to my asset data model, if you recollect, an asset is stored in the asset base smart contract, which is our registry, right? And so far we've tackled creators and we've tackled metadata. Now we bolt onto that licenses. So with the asset, a creator can define any number of licenses and say that, okay, looking on the left there, license A, it's a CC by SA. So if you go and look on the Creative Commons website, you will see that the CC by SA is a very specific type of license. It's got very specific legalese, it's got specific rights, and that's what you're communicating with just that short string on there. It also says that there are 20 editions, and it's 2 Vitrus for each. So here we go. On-chain, through our asset consignment registry, we have given a creator the ability to define and communicate to other smart contracts the exact terms and conditions under which they can obtain a license for that artwork. No humans needed, no paperwork needed, no applications needed, all smart contract to smart contract. This is a huge deal, folks. So any smart contract can ping our asset consignment registry and request a license. The registry will check if a license is available. So, in my example, it says 20 editions. What if all 20 have been sold? Then 0 are available. So it would fail, right? But if there were any available, it would then check that the appropriate payment has been provided. The ACR knows how much should be paid for that particular license, and you need to supply that when a smart contract calls in for that. If all the checks pass, guess what? The ACR mints a new NFT on the fly and issues a license to the caller, making them a licensee. This model allows anyone on the planet to create a dApp. They can deploy it on Vitruvio, and they can make all the artwork searchable. So maybe you're an expert in oceans, right? You can create a dApp about oceans. Put your knowledge on there. You can query the ACR for different types of oceans using the metadata and create a beautiful store. You can mark up the prices for it. And as long as when the buyer passes the amount required by the creator, you can be issued a license, or you can issue a license to your buyer. So this is dynamic minting. There's no minting until there's a buyer with money who says, I want this. This is on-demand minting of consigned resources. It is new. It doesn't exist anywhere on any blockchain or any smart contract today. We will radically transform how artwork is licensed using this dynamic mint on demand on-chain licensing workflow. This applies to all types of assets, not just visual artworks, music tracks, movies, books, you name it. It's a generic model which is highly flexible and which creates the commerce foundation for an infinite number of possibilities. This is what will make our chain, Vitruvio, extremely valuable to the world. We execute this, we get creators on here, and this model works. If you think about the first mover advantages that companies had in Web 2.0, in bringing about the e-commerce revolution, we're going to do that. So think Amazon, think companies like that. We are creating a model for that is on-chain and provides economic opportunity for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people.